Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.
Hey, is the power off on this?
I don't know. Just take it off.
Safety violation, unsafe work conditions.
In the construction trades unions, safety is our highest priority, and we train you to recognize and speak out on unsafe working conditions so that everyone arrives and goes home safely. Learn about careers in construction at georgiaconstructioncareers.com.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Keeping It Real with Najeh Wilkins. Happy Tuesday to everybody. We're going to be getting to the latest in girls sports across spring sports, a little bit of softball, cheerleading, a little bit of everything. Today, our featured guest is going to be Lovett soccer coach, Miss Virginia Sellers. Can't wait to talk to her a little bit about what's going on with the program. They are undefeated again, so that's going to be the feature of our show, and then we'll conclude with my top five just girls headlines across all sports. So without further ado, let's bring on the head coach from Lovett. Hey, Coach, how are you?
Hello.
How you doing,
Good.
Coach?
How are you?
Doing good. Appreciate you coming on.
Yes, of course.
Yes, ma'am. So, obviously, before we get into the season, Coach, I just want to do a little background on you, just kind of to get you elaborate a little bit. I know you started kind of your career at Lovett, played a couple years there, then you ended up going to Ole Miss, and then you came back as a fifth grade teacher as you started, and now you are the head soccer coach. So kind of how cool is it to kind of see where you are now in your career, and what has kind of made Lovett always home for you?
That's a great question. Lovett has been home for my family for years. My long-standing history. My mom actually went to school here, and so we have like a lot of family history at the school, which is really great. But one of my favorite things when I look back on my high school experience is playing for the Lovett soccer team. So when I think about like the experience that I want for the girls on my team, and like what was my perfect experience. So it's been really interesting to be back as a faculty member and as a coach, and just being on the other end to be the role model that I had in the past.
No doubt, Coach. And then do you see any, what are some of the biggest differences between being a player and now being a coach, being a mentor, being kind of a role model for these girls that you coach?
Yeah, I think that one of the main things is that like I was a very passionate player. I'm a very passionate coach, but it comes out in different ways, Like my goal for the girls is to just have the best possible high school experience. And so like their soccer experience is part of that. And so when I think about the messages that I send and the things that I want the girls to take away from the season, it is really just about that, passion and like finding the things that make them tick. And so like if it's leadership or if it's actually going to play soccer in college or whatever it is, I try to help them find their strengths through the game.
No doubt, Coach. And then if you had to say, right, this is a very successful program. You guys won a lot of state championships, right? And last year you guys fell a little bit short of your goal. We went to the semifinals. But I just want to ask you just a little bit about the story history of this program. What makes it so great? Why you guys are able to just year in, year out be a contender for state titles?
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with the environment that's created by the seniors on the team. Two of them are sitting here with me. We talk at the beginning of each season about like what are their goals for the season and how can the coaches help the players meet their goals for that season. And so like we talked about like how to utilize the different strengths of the different leaders on the team so that they can reach the goals that they want to reach. And I think that like underlying value of like we are a team first is the thing that keeps driving us forward and helps us when we're in those tight games and in those tough moments of like, okay, we take care of our teammates because we understand each other's strengths. We understand where we need to help each other out, and both physically and just like in terms of their leadership skills.
No doubt, Coach. And then you guys at one point are outscoring opponents 72-1. It's been an incredible season. Do you feel like kind of that loss last year to Westminster has been fueling your group a little bit? You talked about obviously the team side and how important that is. It's not just about individual, but about the team success. But how much is that loss to Westminster in the semifinals feeling you guys this year?
Yeah, it's never fun to lose, right? And so like every loss that we experience kind of fuels us forward. And so one of the things that I think of mostly is not necessarily did that loss fuel us forward, but like how does every loss, like what do we learn from every game? And in that game we learned like we gave it our all, and it just didn't, the ball did not bounce in our direction, and it was unfortunate for us. But yeah, absolutely. I think the things that the girls took away from that was that we need to make sure that we're showing up with our best game every single day. And there's never a moment in a game that we're going to take our foot off the gas. So like, we're just prepared for anything that comes our way. And yeah, I think that's kind of like the biggest takeaway from that game overall.
No doubt, Coach. So last one for you before I throw it to the girls. I just want to ask, this season, right? Just talk a little bit about the senior leadership. How important has that been? And how valuable is that to have, obviously two senior leaders, right beside you, having that on your team as you try to, get to where you want to be and accomplish your goals?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's been, we actually talk about like season by season, like what does the team need to grow in, like where are the needs of the team? And we always start with like team chemistry and how we're in high school, right? And not everyone's going to be the best of friends, but like, how can we be a team? And how do we know that we have each other's backs? So like, we actually have a meeting every season before the season starts of like, let's just go through and talk about what it means to be a leader, what it means to utilize your strengths in a way that really drives the team forward, what it means to support someone who maybe is not your best friend. And so I think that conversation really helped us as we move forward. And I'm sure the girls could add on, but I think that from my perspective, like I can rely on them if I'm like, hey, I noticed that, the mood at practice today was a little somber. What's going on? Like they can help me understand, and they can help, solve the problem, whatever it is.
No doubt about it. I'm going to start with obviously Olivia. I just want to ask you, just for you, what has been the most rewarding thing just this season? What have you kind of enjoyed the most being with your group and your kind of some of your best friends and kind of creating those relationships?
I would probably say like playing with like the girls that are most close to me in like the back line, because I get to kind of be like the leader for the two of them, and especially since they're both younger than me, it's really nice to kind of like have them to follow in my footsteps. And especially since we just brought a freshman on, and at practice sometimes like she shadows behind me, and it's really cool to like have someone that is actually like following my lead, and I get to kind of be there for her and like mentor her in like a practice setting. So that it was really cool to see. We just had a game and she got to go in, and it was really like exciting to see like everything she learned in practice, like she got to implement in the game, and it was really cool.
No doubt. Now, I got to ask, do you have, any brothers and sisters?
Yes, I do. One of them is actually on the team.
Okay, yes. So I want to ask you that, like you probably kind of know with having brothers and sisters kind of how it is, being a leader and kind of mentoring. Just what are some things you got to have, in order to kind of resonate, obviously freshmen coming in sometimes, they like, oh, I got all this, I don't need your help. But what do you kind of have to have in order to kind of resonate with a group of, girls or just with your teammates in order so they'll kind of follow your lead?
I think you just need to be relatable, because if you put yourself up on a pedestal and like make yourself seem like you have no flaws and like no mistakes, then people might be scared to like approach you with any like questions or like weaknesses they have, and without you or like without your help they can't get better. And I feel like if I can make myself relatable to my team and like anyone else that needs my help, like it makes me so happy to see people come up and like ask me questions and feel comfortable talking to me, and like I know we're forming a better relationship and like a better connection. And I feel like that really brings our team closer together, and that's something special that we have, is that like we're not scared. There's not like a division between the grades. I feel like we all know our place, but at the same time, the team is a team and we're all here to support each other, and it's not like all divided, which is really nice.
No doubt. And then for you, where do you think the team has grown the most? Obviously, I don't want to do too much comparison, but from last year to this year, where do you think the team has grown the most, or some areas that you've kind of appreciated seeing where this team has gone so far this year?
I think what I repeat like every single game in our huddle before kickoff is, remember, like, what makes us so special as a team is that we truly play for each other. There's not one person on the field that is there to like boost their stats, like their score. Everyone's there like, how can I play to my best to better impact the rest of the team? And I feel like this year that is something that's so important to us. And like the more we harp on that and the more we like pay attention to like how our contributions affect the team, like that's really like set us apart this year, because like we're so focused on playing for each other.
No doubt. And I think you said you play the back line, correct?
Yes.
So in your eyes, you've been playing, I'm sure, soccer for a long time. What is the most important thing you got to have on the back line to be very successful? You guys had a bunch of shutouts this season. I'll talk about your coaching a little bit, but what is the success to having a great back line defensively?
I think communication, like the more we talk to each other, like the better we like become. Like when we obviously we have to practice with each other and like know how we play, but even with playing with people for a long time, if you don't talk to them, like you're not going to always know what's going on. You can't possibly see everything on the field at the exact same time. Like that's why you have people to your left and your right that can see things from other angles that you can't see. And like the better we communicate, the better we play. And like for as long as I play, that's how it's been. So.
Okay, gotcha. Now being a defender in your eyes and putting you in a hot chair, just what do you think it takes individually? I know it's very team oriented, but individually, what does it take to be a great defender and kind of be there for your team?
I think what makes me a great defender is that I'm confident in my abilities, but I'm not cocky, because when you're a defender, clearly like you're the last line, but you also have to know that it's not always just on you. You need to rely on people around you. Like, and it's not, you always have to know it's not always on the other person. Like you need to be there. You need to cover for your other defenders. Like you are not all in it alone. And I think it reminds me that like, yes, I'm confident, but I'm not cocky, and I always have to be there for everyone else. And I have to remember there's people there for me. So it's just like a constant reminder to like never get down on yourself, like single yourself out like individually and be like, wow, that goal was on me. Like, no, it's a team effort. And yes, you can take responsibility, but at the end of it, you need to keep your head up and like make sure you're always there for your team.
No doubt. Now, obviously, it's a two-sided question. The first part, I want to ask you kind of like, what does it mean to you to put on that Lovett uniform every single or during the season? You know, being able to wear kind of that pride, that lion pride on your chest. How much does that mean to you?
It really means a lot. Like I played Lovett varsity soccer for 4 years, and it's been a really big part of my high school experience. I look forward to the spring every single year, and it really just makes me proud to like say that I play for Lovett soccer with like all these great girls. And I know that even though like the season's coming, like we're going to like a really great part of the season, and I know like even after I leave Lovett soccer, like it'll still like have a part of me, and I can't wait to come back next year and like support the players that are on the team now that will still be on the team. And it just like really means a lot. Like I love the team, but I love the girls even more. So.
Gotcha. And final question for you, Olivia, before I toss it to Parker. Just talk about what do you think would be a successful season for this Lovett Lions group? What does that kind of look like in your eyes?
For me, I just feel like we keep getting the results, which I love. But I also think like we always talk about the standard that we have, and like we don't ever want the standard to drop. Like when we show how well we play together, the next game we don't want to be at the standard. We want to be above it. We want to keep getting better. We want to keep setting the standard higher and higher each game. So it's not like a plateau. Like we always want to be going toward the peak. And I just feel like for us, that's like a really great goal, because I feel like we have no limit. Like our team is really good, and we get every practice, we challenge each other. It's never like, oh, this is good enough. It can always get better. And the way that we play, I really just feel like I really want to win state. So the more we like reach that peak and like don't like get complacent and think about just like this is good enough, I feel like that's really great for our team.
Got you. Well, Olivia, I appreciate you sharing and talking just a little bit about your experience on the soccer field and a little bit about what you kind of mean to the team. Parker, you're up. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So I kind of want you to expound on what Olivia just said, just a little bit about obviously the standards. Talked about, wanting to get better. not just peaking and hitting a plateau, but continue to kind of raise the bar. What is kind of the standard of Lovett soccer in your eyes?
I mean, it's hard to like put that into like a defined like word. There's just like so many parts that go into it, whether it's like on the field, like playing together, like scoring, being successful, but also like the relationships that we have with one another also off the field are also super important. Just like saying hi to people in the hallway, that's part of the standard of like being a team and like acknowledge teammates that lead us to like achieve our one goal.
No doubt about it. And then for you, obviously, I know club soccer is a big thing on the ranks of just getting noticed and things like that. But what have you just enjoyed most about playing high school soccer with your teammates and being able to go on some of those road trips and being able to see just new things and to compete at a high level?
I feel like mainly just like the memories that I have of all of like our time together, whether it was like going on the bus to like an hour and a half away game or just like our pregame in the locker room. We have like a ritual that we do before every game where we like dance and get the team super excited to play, which is always so fun and like always raises the energy so much and just like gets everyone so excited about playing for each other.
No doubt. Now, I know Coach leans on you very heavy, you and obviously Olivia, just as far as just the senior leadership. In your eyes, I want to ask kind of the same thing I asked her earlier. What do you think just makes a great leader? How are you able to kind of just resonate again with kind of your girls and being able to kind of, hold them to a high standard?
I'm going to add on what Olivia said about like being like relatable and being there for someone. I also think it's super important to be like a good listener, because if you can't be like approached or like hear what other people are saying, then you're not going to be able to help them to get better. So just like being that like shoulder to cry on or like lean on or look up to is like super important in being a leader, whether that's on the field of like communicating with others or like giving constructive criticism, or just like off the field if they're having like a personal issue, being able to be there for someone and help them to be better and get better and do better.
Okay, now this is kind of a question for both of you guys. I should have asked Olivia, but it slipped my mind. But I want to know for both of you guys, what kind of impact just, has Coach Kerns had on you guys' career? What has she kind of just meant to you guys and getting to here where you are your senior year competing, one more regular season game, and then you hit playoffs? What has she kind of meant for your career?
I think it's been like really special to have her as a coach for like all 4 years. And like there's never been like, obviously during practice we want to play like to the standard and like as well as we can, but there's never been this like immense pressure like if you fail, like it's the end of the world and like you will never get better and get back up. And it's always like been a culture of like try so hard that eventually you're gonna mess up, and then when you do mess up you can learn from that mistake. And I feel like she's really created this like safe space on the field where you can be the player that you want to be. Like you can be the player you are, but you can also be the player that you really want to be in the future. So like it's not like your growth is stagnant. Like you can always have like the opportunity to like grow as a player and help all the other people on the field grow as players.
Gotcha.
I'll add to that. I definitely feel like our relationship is special with every single player on the team. Like she just creates a really great environment for everyone. Everyone feels like they belong and are meant to be here because they are. And I just feel like it's so great to have a coach who creates that environment, because there's so many times when people are not in that environment and then it just causes so many problems. And like she's the reason that we have all of our success is because of her leadership and the way that she leads our team.
No doubt about it. And I got to ask you guys the hot topic. I know you guys have had them the last few years. You guys won another region title. But what makes the rivalry between you guys and Pace Academy just so special? It's year in, year out, always contending, always competing for a title.
I think it does start off the field. Like it's not just a rivalry between our teams. It is a rivalry between our schools, and everyone, not just on the teams, is like super involved in every match between our two schools. So it's kind of this like fire and like drive to like prove that like you have what it takes and like your team is ultimately the better team, and you just want to get out on that field and like showcase it. And it does start off the field, but ultimately where the field is where you finish it. And I think that's really important for us, is like we get out on that field and like we show them like how it's done and that we are ultimately the winners.
For you, Parker?
Yeah, I definitely agree that it starts off the field and like ends on the field, but they just like the environment of any type of rivalry, whether it's Pace or another school, like you want to be the winner in the rivalry, like no matter what, you don't want to lose, you don't want to like let down. So I feel like them being like the team that we played to win the region title like made it all that more special, is beating them and like being able to be on top.
Got you. And then I just want to ask you, you guys, obviously, well, I asked you earlier, Olivia, but Parker, for you, what do you think would make a successful season for Lovett?
Well, our goal that we set at the beginning in terms of like playing soccer is winning the state championship, but also having like a super cohesive team environment, which I feel like we've had a lot of success with thus far. And that's what has made our goal of winning state have been so good so far. And so I just feel like the combination of those two just is what creates a successful team.
And final question for both before I bring your coach back on to conclude. Just tell me a little bit. Obviously, you don't have to circle out, some, but just tell me a little bit about your teammates, kind of, what they've meant to you. You guys can circle out a couple if you like. Just playing with this group and this group of girls. Talk about some of your teammates.
I feel like for me, I've been able to form super great relationships with especially some of the juniors because I've been able to play with them the longest besides like my senior teammates. But like my really good friend Caitlin, she has like been such a great supporter of me, and I just like love being able to play with her or like talk to her in the hallway, like go to dinner, any of those things that just like even like the little like relationships between one person and another like help create bigger relationships on the team, and it just means so much to have those special connections.
For you, Olivia?
I would say like what Parker was saying, like the feeling that it's not just your team, you don't only have to hang out with them in the setting of like the field and like practice in the locker room, like it's open for hanging out outside of school, like going to dinner or just like picking people up and be like, hey, do you want to go for a ride? Like we don't just cultivate our friendships and relationships in the locker room and on the field, like it's those moments outside of school where we feel like we're not forced to be together right now, but we really enjoy our time together, and like this is where it shows me like we really are friends. And I know Coach Tyler mentioned earlier that like, oh, like we can play even though we're not the best of friends, but what's so special about our team is that genuinely like we are all friends and we all enjoy like being together, and it makes it so special because like it makes me so happy to see another person on my team succeed because I love them so much, and like the fact that like I get to be there for them when they like have such a great moment. Like Ridley Noon just scored her like 100th career point at Lovett, and it's so huge for her because she had just gone back from an ACL injury, and like the fact that despite that she could come back and like accomplish something so huge, and like for me to be there right next to her when she did it was just such a like cool opportunity, and like I've never been happier. Like that was one of the best moments of Love Soccer, and it was just so cool that like we're all there for each other. And like the video of like the replay of her 100th point is like every single person on the team, you can hear them screaming in the back of how excited they are. Like it's just like pure joy, and it just really like it really resonates with me. Like this is the type of environment that we've created. Like no one's comparing stuff, oh, I wish I had that 100th point. Like everyone is just genuinely so proud of her and like of her accomplishments, and that's just like really great to have.
Love to hear things like that. And really the last one, just for the audience that's watching, what are you girls' next step? Are you guys, whether it's playing soccer on the next level or just academically, where are you going? What's kind of the next step after the season's over?
I'm going to the University of Virginia. I'm not playing in college, but I'm really excited. I think I'm gonna major in chemistry. I want to be a doctor, so I'm really excited to get up to Charlottesville.
And I'm going to Washington and Lee University, which is also in Virginia, so we'll only be an hour apart, which is so exciting. But I'm also headed on like the pre-dentistry track because I'm interested in being an orthodontist. But I'm also not playing in college, but I'm excited.
That's super cool. You girls are only an hour away, and you guys can go up and see each other.
Yeah, I'm so excited. She'll be getting plenty of visits from me.
Yes. Well, congrats, girls. Thank you so much. Enjoy interviewing you guys, and good luck the rest of the way. And good luck Thursday night when you guys play GAC.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Coach, are you still there?
Yes.
Still here.
All right.
Sorry, we're like reorganizing on the floor because anyway, bad organization on my end.
No worries, Coach. I appreciate you coming on and just talking about your group. It's been such an exciting team, and I kind of want to start here, Coach. Just want to ask you about just obviously we know you guys play very, very together, but just talk about the offensive side of the ball. You guys been able to score so many goals and do it at a high level. We started the season 6-0 against Blessed Trinity. Just kind of talk about that side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've been really clicking this season, and one of the things that we've did at the end of last season was we made an adjustment in our formation, in that like we had been playing a 4-3-3, but we changed it and took a leap of faith, and we are now playing a 3-5-2, which is pretty sophisticated formation for high school. Some of our players still play club, but some do not. So like we are, spend a lot of time teaching this new formation and how to like succeed in this formation. And we actually just have a lot of players who are eager to score, which is a beautiful thing, but we're finding the back of the net a lot.
And then, Coach, obviously I don't want you to share too much of your secrets and clues, but I'm still kind of fairly new to soccer, so I know 3-5-2 kind of is more advantageous to an offense, but kind of what was the rationale, and obviously it's been successful for you guys, but what was kind of rationale when you're talking to your assistant coaches just to kind of switch it up a little bit and how it could beneficially help the team?
Yeah, so one thing is that we have a really strong midfield. We have a lot of midfielders, and so in that formation we have a lot of ability to get our strongest players out on the field for longer periods of time. So that is kind of one of the main reasons why we were thinking like this is a good shift for us.
Gotcha, Coach. And then just talk a little bit about just the versatility of this team. How cool is it to have, as you mentioned, with this nice formation, and have your girls, the two there with you as well, just to have versatility that you can kind of play them at different roles and that they're going to be successful at it?
Yeah, no, it's great. Like there's not a player on the team that I'm like, oh, this player definitely cannot play X position. So which opens up our doors a lot, in that like we can move people around, and if we feel like, oh, we really need more bodies in in the back, then we know how to shift our formation to do that. We if we need more bodies going forward, then like we know that we can bring in some people from the bench that is their strength. So like we have a very versatile team and a very, very talented team. So that has been really great this season.
Yes, ma'am. Now I know I did a little research and I heard that you have two triplet sisters on your team, Ridley Newton and Mary Camp Newton. Is that correct?
We have 3 sets of multiples on the team. We make jokes at practice, like, if you have a sister on this team, you guys cannot be on the same team, okay?
That's funny, Coach. How do you just kind of organize all that? I mean, I know that has to be a day in itself, just having so many just kind of alike and similarities and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, Olivia has a twin sister who's on the team, Frances. So there's, I think that there's, I mean, it doesn't take any organization at all. Thankfully, they all get along, and they're all sisters that that are not like at each other's throats, but they are interested in being members of the same team. So it's actually really beautiful. It creates kind of like a family dynamic.
No doubt. And then, Coach, how cool was to see Olivia talked a little bit about it, but just to see Ridley Newton kind of come back from that injury. That's not an easy injury to come back from, a torn ACL or ACL injury.
Yeah.
And her to be able to kind of see and work through it, work hard, and pass her 100th career point. How cool was that to see it as a coach?
Yeah, it was actually very cool to see. And her personality overall is just like very even keel. And she was so over the moon and excited that it was interesting to watch her, just show her emotions and see how excited she was, see how excited the girls were for her to reach that goal. But Mary Camp, her triplet sister, 2 of 3 triplets, she was so excited for her. So it was really, really beautiful to watch that.
No doubt, Coach. And then a couple more, I'll let you get out of here. I want to go back to the defensive side of the ball. You talked about the new formation, and obviously I know Olivia is a very crucial part of your defense. But talk about, are there any like challenges? Obviously, I'm not as informed as you are, Coach, but are there any challenges when it comes to 3-5, kind of 2 or 3-5-3 when it comes to that formation defensively? But you guys, I know, are very highly pressured defensively. You guys put a lot of pressure on the ball. Like, kind of talk about that dynamic and still being able to be successful, even though it's kind of pertinent to offense, the formation.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't noticed any severe challenges in this team in that, like, we talk about all the time. We will not get beat because we are getting outworked. So that is one of the values that we have. Like, we are going to work harder than the other team on the other side of the field. And if we lose, it will not be because we got outworked, and it will not be because we can't get up and down the field and play the kind of game that we want to play. And so we don't see a lot of issues in that department because the girls know if they do not defend, then they get to come sit with me on the sideline. So that is just an expectation that is instilled in all of the girls.
Gotcha, Coach. And then out of all the ones we talked about, are there any girls that you wanted just to give, some praise to, kind of highlight underrated girls that have been just kind of keen and sharp for you this year?
Yeah, I mean, these two girls that are sitting here with me have been a very key part of our success. And to be frank, like every person that sees the field is too. And the bench serves a huge purpose on our team in that, like, they're our bench is very loud. And so, like, they are a huge support system for the team. But in terms of people who maybe are serving more of like a role, like Catherine Aid is someone who she does her job and she does it well. And so she maybe isn't scoring goals all the time or getting lots of assists. She's just steady and doing what she needs to do. Same with Reeves Malone. I think she does exactly what's asked of her, and she gets her job done. The rest of the girls on the field, I feel like, are scoring goals and getting the praise that they kind of deserve, and that they're getting the stats and their name called over the loudspeaker. But I feel like those two sometimes, don't get that kind of praise.
Gotcha, Coach. Thank you for highlighting those as well. And last two, just got a big matchup Thursday. Obviously, you're going to conclude the season before you get into, obviously, playoffs. Just what stands out about a matchup against GAC, another really, really good team. What does your team kind of need to do to kind of come out on top?
Yeah, one thing that in high school soccer that I've been trying to instill in the girls is, like, we focus on ourselves. And so, like, even as a coach, I've been trying to do that. Like, we are going to go in and we are going to make whichever team we're playing change for us. We are not going to change for them. So we are going to prepare our game and we are going to stop them from playing theirs. That is the ultimate goal. So as we prepare, we are preparing for those two kind of things that we have been all season. And we've talked about how, like, every single game that we play, we need to build on our performance. So, like, we just had a very good performance against Woodward. We had a very good performance against Holy Innocents. And so, like, we expect, even though we're kind of, like, getting to that point where we're showing every game that we're playing really well, we still need to build on our experience.
Gotcha. And last question, Coach. I asked your two girls this as well, but for you, what would be a successful season for the Lovett Lions this year, kind of in your eyes, that would just kind of put a bow on everything and kind of send your seniors off right? What would that mean? Yeah,
I think I would hope that all of the girls walk away from the season without any regrets. That would be my biggest hope, is that they are walking away feeling like every single game I left every single thing I have out on the field. I know that I have X to give and I gave X, and that is all that can be asked of me. Obviously, like they said, we want to win a state championship. I think we can. And I know we can. I just, at this point, is just implementing the things that we need to do to get to that point and making sure that we're playing our best soccer every single time we set out on the field. But in order to do that, everyone has to give every single thing that they have in the tank.
Gotcha, Coach. Well, I want to say thank you so much for taking this time to do this interview. Shout out to obviously Olivia and Parker. Thank you girls for coming on. But Coach Seller, just appreciate you and good luck the rest of the way. And good luck this postseason in obtaining your goal to win the state championship and going far.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. All right, so there
Bye.
goes Coach Seller. Bye-bye. There goes Coach Seller, guys, of the Lovett Lions. Really great group. Appreciate her, just coming on and talking a little bit about, obviously, their program. Having another great year, 15-0. Undefeated, have been just outscoring opponents at a high rate. Defensively, they're very, very good. 12 shutouts so far this year. So they have been doing a lot of good stuff. So wanting to feature their program and kind of shed some light into what they're doing on the girls' sports side. So they would definitely have caught my eye, and definitely be watching them this postseason and see what they're able to do. So, guys, that's what we got for right now. We're going to take a quick short break, thank our sponsors, and be back on the other side.
Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.
Hey, is the power off on this?
I don't know. Just take it off.
Safety violation. Unsafe work conditions.
In the construction trades unions, safety is our highest priority, and we train you to recognize and speak out on unsafe working conditions so that everyone arrives and goes home safely. Learn about careers in construction at georgiaconstructioncareers.com.
All right, guys, welcome back. So we'll jump into the second segment of the show to talk a little bit about what's going on in spring sports and then conclude with my top 5 in the third segment. But we'll go ahead and start on the lacrosse side. So some major games this past week. Milton, unfortunately, did go 1-2, but a lot of their schedule was out of state. So when the rankings come out tomorrow, I don't think they'll drop very much. They play a very, very tough schedule, and both of the games were combined lost by 5 points. So they've been very good all year long. But Pace Academy picked up a big out-of-state win against Baylor, Tennessee, 18-11. And they were able to, I think it was their 4th or 5th highest scoring total so far this year. So they've been doing really, really great and picked up a big win. They're 8-5 on the year. They've been in the poll for the past 3 to 4 weeks, and they have been doing their thing. Another big one was Mill Creek beating Lassiter, who has also been a top team all year. Mill Creek, I feel like they're hitting their stride at the right time. Right now they're 10-4. They built an early 8-4 halftime lead, and then were able to lead 9-4 in third quarter, and then Lassiter turned it on. They led pretty much the rest of the way Mill Creek did, but they were able to score some goals, and then they got it within 11-10 with a couple seconds to go. Lexi Tinker, who has been very special this season, we shouted her out, obviously, on the last show. 5 goals in that game. Alexis Eichenberger with 4 goals, and Kat Wilson with 2. So Mill Creek is getting right at the right time. And I think they're going to be a team, obviously, to watch in 6A, 7A this year on the lacrosse side, just to see what they're able to do. And I feel like they're playing their best ball at the right time. And offensively, they have one of the better groups and better teams. And then also you had Wesleyan beating their rival, Westminster, 20-19, a very high-scoring affair between those two. And we were able to get that win on the road. So another special shout-out to them. Those two have been going back and forth in the poll. Wesleyan's high is number 2. Westminster number 3, so they've been performing at a high level. And then we'll kind of transition to some basketball, some major news. We'll talk about it obviously in the top 5, but I wanted to give a shout out to obviously Raven Johnson and Sania Fagan. Both are formerly of Atlanta. Johnson, she went to Westlake where she starred before going to South Carolina, and in Forest Park, Sania Fagan went to before completing a perfect season. Both played instrumental roles in winning a national championship for South Carolina. So I wanted to give them a special shout out. And as you guys all know, Raven Johnson was also a McDonald's All-American as well. Very highly rated coming out of high school, 98 scout grade, very highly ranked on ESPNW, and she's showing that she's big time. I know some will say, okay, well, she didn't have the best stat line, but again, guys, look what she did against one of the best players, probably ever to play the sport. Second quarter, I should say, she adjusted, right? Caitlin went off for 18, and she was able to adjust and make it tougher for her, got some steals, just make it uncomfortable for Caitlin. So special shout out to her. She continues to play at a high level and has been doing her thing. So I wanted to give her a shout out, and obviously Sanaa Fagan, formerly of Atlanta, Forest Park, and obviously Westlake. So special shout out to them. And then we had some other news, some commitments, obviously, as well. So I wanted to give one to Zion Hayes. She plays for Cass High School, class of 2024. She decided to play her college ball at, let's see, this tweet is a little misleading. Hold on, let me see. So she's going to play for, it does not say the school. I think she's going to play for the Lady Coyotes on the next level. It doesn't say where the school is. I thought on the tweet it would, but it doesn't. But here it is. She decided to commit to Lady Coyotes for Weatherford College. So that is where she's going to play her ball this past year. Led them to a 15-11 record. Fortunately missed the playoffs, but had a really, really good year as well. And then I wanted to give a shout out to Hebron Christian girls basketball. They're having a youth basketball clinic starting actually tomorrow. The clinic is supposed to go from April 10th, April 17th, the 24th, May 1st, from 3:30 to 4:30. It's going to be 4th grade to 5th grade for the girls and boys side. So I think that's just cool for them, just being able to give back to the community and kind of being able to show, obviously the kids different skills. I mean, they had a phenomenal year this past year, winning also a state championship in 3A and also winning a national championship. So they have been doing big things. So I wanted to give them a special shout out for the basketball clinic that they're going to have as well. All right, so we'll transition to soccer. Some soccer news. Got to give her a shout out. We had our head coach on actually a few weeks ago. That was West Forsyth, but Marley Raymond continues to be one of the best players in the state. Obviously, last year we know we had some really great players, but she was just honored and selected to represent in the USA youth soccer. She was named to a 20-player roster to compete at the upcoming 8-team Youth of Friendship tournament in Riva, Turkey from April 7th through the 19th. I thought that was a special honor for her, and she continues to be one of the best players in the state, and she's been doing great things. So just wanted to give her a special shout out, and something she's been kind of working towards. Obviously, we talked to her coach a few weeks ago, and he said, obviously one of their best defenders, and that she's been trying to get on the USA team. So just excited to see her kind of show her talent and be able to get it, on kind of that grand stage, that national stage. And she's very young. She is only class of 2026, so only a sophomore. So she still has, a lot of room to grow and develop. And she also plays on the basketball team. I'm sure soon she's probably going to have to make a decision with the demands of soccer and probably eventually choose one, but that time has not came yet. But she is one of the top girls nationally, IMG top 50 nationally as well. And she has a bunch of, just accolades to her credit. So special shout out to her for being elected to that. And then a couple teams in the national poll. You have Beaufort on the soccer side. They're number 2 nationally. And you have North Carolina. They're right behind Charlotte Latin School of North Carolina. Marist is number 11. And then West Forsyth is actually number 23. So I think we actually just dropped our rankings for girls soccer. So just a quick look at that. So as you guys all know, Beaufort is remaining at number 1. And 6A, number 1 team is Marist. Obviously, they're nationally ranked as well, followed by Jefferson in 5A. Lovett in 4A. We just talked to their head coach and their program right at the top of the poll. Class 3A, Oconee County. 2A, Model. Class A Division 1, Social Circle. And then Class A Division 2, Lake Oconee Academy. So those are some of the top teams at the top. So you guys can go to scoreatl.com, get the latest rankings there. They just came out, fresh rankings for girls soccer. So go check that out. And looks like West Forsyth is sitting right there at number 4. So team right there in the cusp, could have a really great year. And as we talked about with the coach, he loved the camaraderie of the group, how together they are, and just kind of a good mesh of everything, a mesh of the talent and a mesh of kind of togetherness and camaraderie. So they could be a team I think could challenge. And hey guys, I'm not gonna lie, that might be a pretty good state championship if it obviously the brackets work out the correct way. West Forsyth and potentially against Beaufort, that might be a very entertaining soccer championship. But all right, we're gonna move on to track and field now. Talk a little bit about that. So again, we had Lovett's coach on. Got to give a shout out to Malia Alman. She's class of 2024. She just broke the school record for the girls pole vault a couple days ago with a 9.2 time. So Very special of her. She now holds sole possession of the school record after tying it last year in the GHSA state championship. So she is doing her best at the right time. As you guys all know, we're starting to get into like the meat of the track season. Starting to get into, obviously, we had some region championships. Going to start getting into sectionals and things like that before we have state. So special shout out to her. She broke the record. One she tied last year in the state championships, but now officially has the record. And you guys all know this is Craig's favorite race. And that is the AJC Peachtree Road race. I'm sure you're going to be competing this year, one of Craig's favorite. But they had a big thing I wanted to announce as well. So, says for the first time, it's via Atlanta Track Club on Twitter, says for the first time in AJC Peachtree Road race, 55-year history, 40 top Georgia high school athletes will get behind the scenes look at professional racing in an all-new elite high school division. So, that is the latest there. Let's see if they have a little more information on it. So, as you guys all know, this goes down July 4th. It's kind of one of those, annual things. Every year, obviously we have the 4th of July tradition. Usually have barbecues, cookouts, things like that. Peachtree Road Race is one of the big ones here in Atlanta. So, basically, how's it going to go? The top 20 boys, top 20 girls from classes of 25, 26, 27 reside in the state of Georgia who accept the invitation from Atlanta Track Club will not only line up to the world's best professional athletes at Lenox Square start line, but will also be treated as professionals themselves. Let's see, the inaugural high school division was the brainchild of Sarah Burwell, a two-time Atlanta Track Club All-Metro selection, where she competed for Walton High School, who now runs for Georgia Tech. Burwell, who has frequently participated in the Peachtree, brought the idea to Eric Hines, Director of Performance and Programming for the club. So that is what's coming here. A few of the athletes that were named 2023 All-Metro Cross Country Team will receive automatic invitations in the event. Exceptional performances at high-level cross-country meets in 2023, such as Atlanta Track Club's Wingfoot XC Classic, and top performances on the track at the 1600-meter and 3200-meter will also earn consideration. And some of the athletes who have already accepted, All-Metro honorees Riley Comstock of Harrison, Jamison Pfeiffer of Collins Hill, 2023 GAPPS State cross-country champion Davis Drake of Johnson Ferry Christian Academy, and then for the boys, Zahara Bernal, Pace Academy, Caroline Rogers of Marist School. So those would be some of the top people that will be at the inaugural, or not the inaugural, but the annual event, and just love kind of the bringing it all together, obviously for the AJC Peachtree Road Race. So you're going to see some of the top athletes that have competed, in some of these events. So I think that's pretty cool, adding that addition to it. It's something I wanted to shout out on the show. All right. Now, obviously, we'll go back to basketball real quick, but I wanted to shout her out. Amaya Porter, if you guys don't know, she played with Hebron Christian. We talked about them winning, obviously, a national championship in the throwing tournament, and we obviously talked about them winning the state championship in 3A. But she announced her commitment to Mars Hill University. She picked up, actually, the offer in March and made her decision a couple of days ago. She was just a key piece for Hebron Christian all year long, along with her, Aubrey Beckham. That was a piece they really depended on. Offensively, obviously hit double figures nearly every game, and actually she passed 1,000 career points in February right before their playoff run as well. And we talked about them winning the national title. They defeated Lady Vikings New York. So just super cool to kind of see that, be able to see her go play on the next level and be able to play at a college. I thought that was super dope, super cool. So I wanted to bring it up on the show. All right, we got a couple more before we go to our next break. Talk a little bit about softball. As you guys all know, the interest meetings are happening now. The trials are happening now. But North Oconee, very good softball team. They're going to have their interest meeting on Thursday, April 11th. So this Thursday at Coach Diller's room during Titan time. The meeting is for North Oconee students who are interested in trying out for the softball team in early May. So that would be at Coach Diller's room 4208. So that is right around the corner. As you guys all know, we're in slow pitch right now. Fast pitch will be during the fall. And then there's some more tryouts as well. And that is North Forsyth. So they're going to officially have their tryouts for the fall, May 6th through the 9th. So that's right around spring football, towards the end of spring sports, from 5 to 7 p.m. North Forsyth will be having their softball tryouts as well. So just wanted to hit on those quick sports, fall sports real quick. And then we got to look at gymnastics. That is right around the corner. State championships are on the way. So I just wanted to look at some of the top teams. This is the top 5 teams in each classification. So Buford currently leads right now in 6A, 7A. with 111.992 score, followed by North Forsyth with 109.825 score, followed by Carrollton with 109.133 score, followed by Noonan High School with 108.217 score, and then finally Forsyth Central with a 106 score. So they lead Class 6A, 7A, Class A through 5A. Class A through 5A, you have North Oconee on the girls' side with 110.9 score, followed by Bremen High School with a 107.71 score, followed by Northgate at number 3 with a 107.158 score, Cambridge with a 106.775 score, and lastly, Pace Academy with a 104.40 score. So just a little bit about that. So the gymnastics championships are actually set for next week, set for April 17th through the 19th, and those top teams will be competing for a state championship, as we mentioned, the Bufords, obviously the Bremen High Schools. That is when that is set. Last but not least, before we go to our next break, cheerleading. You guys all know some trials are starting to happen now, but just some dates to remember for next season. Actually starts a little early. July 31st is the earliest day for cheerleading practice. August 5th is going to be the earliest day for a cheerleading contest. September 5th is going to be the earliest day for game day cheerleading contest, and then region cheerleading will be November 4th, followed by GHSA cheerleading state championships November 10th through the 11th, and the last contest date for game day cheerleading will be December 2nd. So those are the latest dates on that, and about all around the sports. That's what we got for now. We're going to take one more quick break before we conclude with my top 5.
Off on this?
I don't know. Just take it off.
Safety violation, unsafe work conditions.
In the construction trades unions, safety is our highest priority, and we train you to recognize and speak out on unsafe working conditions so that everyone arrives and goes home safely. Learn about careers in construction at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
What you doing?
Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.
All right, guys, so we're going to conclude the show with Najeh's Top 5 presented by GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com. And we're going to get into some of the biggest headlines in girls sports. One, the USWNT, the women's soccer team, they won in front of the largest home crowd since the 1999 World Cup. They ended up picking up a 2-1 victory against Japan in the She Believes Cup final. A great performance from Jaden Shaw. She had a goal in this contest. And also Lindsey Horan, she had a penalty kick and was able to take them home and win this game. And actually, you know, it could have went all bad and sour for them because Japan hit the initial goal. Kiki Siki, she hit it in the first minute, but they were able to rebound well. And I like how the defense kind of slowed down Japan. You know, if you go look at it, they only had 6 shots. Japan did 5 on target, so it was very efficient with their shots, but didn't get a lot of them. USA had 18 shots and 7 shots on target, had 53% of the possession in this game as well. And obviously, Japan had a lot of fouls in this one, 16 fouls overall. But it's an exciting match, to say the least, for them. USA have been performing at a very high level. I love what they've been able to do as well. So this is what Lindsey Horan had to say via Just Women's Sports, who had the game-winning penalty, called Shaw a footballer. She's a physical presence, but she's so small on the ball, technically and savvy and creative. So in that one, both Mallory Swanson and Katarina Macario also made their returns in that matchup. For Swanson, it was her first start for the USWNT team since April 2023. And after suffering a season-ending injury, she said, "I look up to her. She's an amazing player." Shaw told reporters about Swanson, "I'm so happy that she's back and I can play with her." So basically, in total, 50,644 fans turned out for the event. Again, one of the largest since 1999 World Cup final. And they're going to actually play Canada tonight at 7 p.m. in a rematch of the Gold Cup semifinal. So that'll be an exciting match tonight at 7 p.m. for girls soccer. So wanted to give them a shout out. At number 2, gotta talk about women's college basketball. I think it's in a really good spot, guys. I mean, first off, obviously shout out to Caitlin Clark and what she's done for the sport. Just getting more eyes to it. I think when you look at her, you gotta look at the impact, right? Setting those records, right? The LSU game, that was one. I think that was like 11 million. Then the UConn game went to 14 million. And then the recent one, the national championship, went to 18.7 million viewers, right? Some of that was more than the NFL average this past season. So I think it's exciting. I think it's great for the sport. Obviously, I think the coverage has to be better, in my opinion. Obviously, she's a great player, set D1 scoring records and things like that. But when you look at the totality of the sport, there's so many stars, right? You look at Juju Watkins, you look at Paige Bookers, you look at the incoming talent that's coming in. You look at South Carolina, what they were able to accomplish with their group. So much depth this year, so many shot makers. Tessa Johnson scoring 19 points in the national championship game. Raven Johnson with her defensive prowess and presence in that one, making it tough for Caitlin. And you look at what Camila Cardozo was able to do, a double-double with an additional 3 blocks. I mean, she was just unguardable in that one. I mean, we have a 6'7" beast that makes it potent. So I just hope next year, obviously, I think it's in a great spot. I think Caitlin helped that. I think Coach Dawn Staley and what she's able to do and how she presents herself, and obviously giving Caitlin her flowers where they definitely do. But I think if we can get just better coverage overall of the sport, obviously highlight the stars, but just an overall, kind of uplifting the sport and continue to get more eyes to it, I think it'd be great. Just highlighting all the great programs, the Tennessees of the world, obviously some of the blue, but some of the underrated programs like Marshall, with their former head coach finally getting to the NCAA tournament for the first time before she ended up accepting the Tennessee job. If we could do a better job of that, of highlighting those type of programs, making their first tournament in a long time, just given the totality of the sport, looking at all sides of it, not just one side, I think that would be great. But I think it's in a great spot, and just setting those records meant a lot, as well. And I think, it is going to be very, very special as well to see kind of, where it goes. And then for me, number 3, there is a big Hawks Naismith Classic. So join our Lady Ballers Basketball Clinic powered by Google Cloud. So that actually be this Saturday, April 13th, at Cowart Family YMCA from 9:30 to 11:30. So the Hawks are having their Lady Ballers Basketball Clinic. The official address is 3692 Ashford Dunwoody Road, zip code 30319 in Atlanta, Georgia. For girls ages 8 through 15, 9:30 to 11:30. I thought that was super cool, having a basketball clinic for the girls coming up as well. All right, number 4. I thought this was super cool. Going to have a new addition to track and field. I thought this was super cool. So, new All-American program open for Gwinnett track and field cross-country athletes. So, took nearly a decade of work and planning, but the final result, an All-American program, is coming now to the field. Mile Split, a division of Flow Sports and National High School Track and Field and Cross Country Coaches Association, unveiled their new ranking system over the weekend. Parkview Track and Field coach Matt Henson, president of NHF TFX CCA, has worked on the project since 2016. So how the system is going to work is similar to the one employed in high school swimming and diving, with performance standards to earn their honor. Via quote, he said, the realization of the All-American program is the culmination of years of collaboration among different states at the convention and throughout the school years. Henson said this program will provide an opportunity for high school athletes, regardless of their year-round involvement, to be acknowledged for exemplary achievements during their respective scholastic seasons. We are grateful for the commitment from Flow Sports / Mile Split to partner with us in streamlining the application process and ensuring accuracy through a centralized platform that mirrors typical meet entry procedures. So Mile Split is going to provide the technology, system, and database for the All-American program. Obviously, the company was founded in 2001, has been a national platform for scholastic track and field registration, results, and meet coverage. And the database, get this, guys, is going to include more than 95 million individual athlete performances. So I think that's pretty big. They're going to have their own ranking system. And how it's going to work for the girls' side, the All-American eligibility standards: 100-meter dash, 11.84, 100 hurdles, 14.45, 200, 24.40, 300 hurdles, 43.50, 400, 55.85, 400 hurdles, a minute 250, 800, 211.90, 1600, 4:57, 3200, 10 minutes, 42 seconds, 400 relay, 48:40, 800 relay, 1:44, 1600 relay, 3:58, and then 3200 relay, 9 minutes and 20 seconds. So the full list is up on Gwinnett Daily Post. Go give it a view. So they're gonna have an All-American. So instead of kind of think about, you know, what we have coming in December, right? We have a Mr. Georgia football and a Miss Georgia football. So think of a whole new kind of ranking system to be able to kind of put these athletes, these exceptional ones that we see setting these new records, these PRs, being able to be named All-Americans in track and field and being able to kind of be on that grand stage. It's very similar to that. And I thought that was pretty cool on the boys and girls side, some new technology, and now you get to be named an All-American in track and field. I thought that was super cool. So that's the latest there. And last but not least, and number 5 to conclude the show, the National Women's Soccer League is expanding yet again. They've been rapidly expanding over the last 5 years. They added Angel City FC and San Diego Wave FC in 2019. Both Utah Royals and Bay FC began play this year. Last year, the league announced Boston as the 15th team, which will begin in 2026. But the difference this time, Berman says, is the league is starting from a more curated place. We know enough to advance the process, she said. It's self-selecting people who understand what the expectations are for investment. We wouldn't want anyone to waste their time. We don't want to waste anyone else's time. So I think that's cool. Obviously, that is the kind of soccer league that's here in the States. The most recent expansion, they paid a $54 million expansion fee. So I think it's great for, obviously, sport, more revenues coming in. Now teams are coming in and expanding, and it's just going to allow more opportunities for girls soccer players, whether they want to play, you know, internationally or if they want to stay here in the States and play for National Women's Soccer League. I thought that was super cool. Just the expansion of the sport and obviously giving girls the options after college is over if they do want to kind of expand their careers and go on a professional level. I thought that was super cool. But the article is on justwomensports.com. Go give it a check out. I thought that was super cool. But that's all I got for today. Stay tuned for Craig's show tomorrow. Who you got?
Evans, St. Pius, and Providence Christian.
All three? Yes. Ooh. Say it one more time so I can tell them.
Evans, Providence Christian, St. Pius.
Okay, so Craig is going to have on Evans, St. Pius, and Providence Christian a 3 coaches show tomorrow. Y'all check it out. We'll be very, very, I'm sure, impactful. I'm sure very, very, a whole lot of information and some great questions for these coaches. Craig does a good job with that. So stay tuned tomorrow. Drive to GSC state title at noon with all those great coaches to kind of give an eye kind of into their program. But that's all I got. See you guys soon and enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.